Again, taking the time to come out. It's been a pretty good start to our season so far, and it'll get a little more interesting tomorrow night at Ole Miss. So feel free to ask away if you like on past games, future games, the weather, whatever.
You kind of touched on this, but pretty pleased with your progress so far then?
Well, I'm pleased. I wouldn't say pretty pleased, but I'm pleased. We have, we've gradually gotten better. I think we're understanding more the urgency that you have to play with night in and night out. It's kind of the way it's going to be, when we do go and recruit in the portal. As much as we have, we've got a lot of great players that we've been able to get out of the portal who are very talented, but now they're starting to understand what it means night in and night out to get someone's best, and the expectations that come along with that. We're not in a situation where every fifth game's a big game. Every game's a big game. You're getting everybody's best shot, and trying to just teach them to be mentally prepared for that, because you're looking at Olivia, Nyla, and Riss, who really played significant minutes in our past, not just last year, but in previous years. So now we're trying to get a lot of them caught back up. And you can see, Sid's a really good player. She's going to, I think, have a tremendous year. Kiki, same way. Jada, same thing. But our most consistent right now of our transfers is Nina. Well, that's a kid that played in Florida. So she played in the Power Five. She played against the SEC day in and day out. So she understands the rigors of you've got to come prepared to compete every single day. You take a day off, you take a play off, you're going to get exposed. And I'm seeing growth from those other three, knowing that, okay, hey, I got to bring it every day because we're going to get everybody else's best shot.
Jeff, going to that urgency bit, what did you see out of your team as a response or something different after dropping that game to Alabama?
Well, I thought we came out, our Liberty game, we did not defend extremely well. We had a hard time finding the ones that can make shots. We did a really good job of guarding the ones that didn't. But that's kind of like trying to get us to follow a scouting report now just a little bit better. We're going to play opposite game tomorrow. So in the scouting report, if they're a shooter, we're going to put they're not a shooter, and we'll probably guard them and see if that approach works. Because I'm all for changing up. I'm not stubborn. Like I will change if I have to. So we're going to try the opposite game tomorrow and see if that works. Because we've struggled, as you all have watched us play, first quarters. We'll sit there and say 35, 25's a shooter, 22's a shooter, and we'll let them get like 4 straight shots off. But if we say this one can't shoot, help, we're glued on them. And it's like, yeah, they don't shoot, guys. So we need you in help. So we'll try that approach tomorrow and see how that works for us. But overall, we competed in the Gonzaga game from start to finish. And that's what we've got to continue to do. The one thing I've been impressed with is it's a group that won't quit. We get down 6 or 8. We got down double figures in Canada. They'll continue to fight. What we've got to get better at, and I thought we did a really good job against Gonzaga, is putting someone away. When you get them on the ropes, then you gotta deliver a haymaker and just one after another, and we finally did that. We're learning. We've broken the film down, and it's now through 7 games. We'll find out if we believe us or not. But I believe we're either 4 for 59 or 3 for 59. I think it's 4, so I'll give us the higher percentage. We're 4 for 59 with 1 pass shots. So when we come down the floor, make 1 pass and shoot it, we're lights out. Like I talk to him all the time. I don't know why you want to keep doing it. We're 4 of 59. When we reverse it one time, we're shooting 60% from the field. But see, it's not as much fun. You know, you throw me that pass in transition, I go between my back, behind my legs, and shoot a fadeaway. It looks better. Problem is they're not going in. When we reverse it, we're shooting 60% from the field. So those are things that we're continuing to show them. Our Gonzaga game, we didn't take one single one-pass shot. Now, as you watch us play, I had to make sure our kids understood, like, if we get a breakaway, okay, we get a steal, and I make one pass up to you, please shoot the layup. Don't reverse it. Okay, so I did have to make sure I explained that all to them. Like, there's a difference. In our game against Gonzaga, Sid dropped a beautiful dime to O in transition, and it was a one-pass shot. That's okay. We're going to miss some transition baskets too. If it's one pass, 3-on-2, they back off, I stop and pop. We're supposed to do that. But if it's one pass up the floor and I stop at the three-point line and I don't have somebody or something to attack to get open, don't just shoot it. So I think we're starting to believe that, you know, because when we were 3 for 50, they still weren't sure. But then after our 1 for 9 in our tournament, I think now 4 for 59, I think they're solid that it's not going to go in.
Jeff, with Nina, she does a lot.
Yeah.
What is she best at, or is there something? Because it seems like she's really good at a lot of different things.
The kid competes. That's what she's the best at. And she can take some coaching. I get on her. She was terrible the first quarter of our Alabama game. Terrible. And I challenged her, and I told her. And she responded. And that's what I love about the kid. Like, she wants me to coach her. She wants the truth. And in today's day and age, it's getting more difficult to find players that really want the truth. And she's all about it. She's like, don't sugarcoat it, coach, you know. And she responds that to that. I mean, her pull-up jump shot's as good as anybody's. Her mid-range, you get a 1-2 pull-up from 8 to 10 feet, 15 feet, it's going in. She pursues the basketball as well as any guard we've had since I've been here. She just has a knack for it. And then she guards on the ball. What we've got to get her to do, and I've got to get O to do, they've got to stop committing the silly fouls. You know, when you're beat or a teammate gets beat and you go to help and you're a step late, just give up the 2 because I've got to have them on the floor. And that's a few of us. We're just trying to learn and teach. You know, get through the half with 1 foul. Stop picking up a second or third because now you're putting me in a bad spot. Because it never fails. There's going to be a bad call. You know, there's going to be a bad call that puts your best player on the bench. They've got 2, and then it's just an atrocious. They weren't even around, but hey, a kid falls down, so we call a foul. Now it's your 3rd. Well, you know one of those is coming every game. So eliminate the ones you can control. So when that bad call comes, it's only your 2nd. It's not your 3rd foul.
You were talking about perimeter defense before. What has been the challenge for you in terms of getting them to understand about, you know, how to get out there and defend the 3?
Well, I don't. That's my problem. I'm not sure. I mean, you know, we're struggling with that when it's like, hey, she's a shooter.
I mean, is it a mindset thing? Maybe that's
No,
what
it's
it is.
I think it's an attention to detail. So that's why we're going to flip it and try opposite. And then you watch it, Gary. We'll sit there and no kid's going to get an open shot. And then they're going to come in here for the post game and you ask them, like, Coach said they're not a shooter. You're like, it works. Opposite day works.
Jeff, this Ole Miss team, how similar to the team you faced in the NCAA tournament? What kind of environment do you expect tomorrow night?
I'm expecting a great crowd. I know it's a game that when it was announced that they are trying hard to sell out and get a great crowd in there. Expecting one. You know, I'll take a nap tomorrow afternoon to make sure I'm awake for it. You know, it's a late game for me. It's 52. I know. I mean, I'm where I am from talking with you and getting your knowledge of how you've handled it. You know, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You know, they are a team. They play extremely hard. They are going to get out and defend. they're going to try to cause as much chaos as possible. If we turn it over, we need to have dead ball turnovers. We need to be able to guard them in the half court. And that's one of the things that we'll express today and really talk to them about today is that I'll take a 5-second call. I'll take you throwing it out of bounds rather than a live ball turnover. You get stuck, you're on your heels falling backwards. Don't just throw it up. I'd rather you fall down with it because then we can guard. Because we've actually, in the half court, when we get people in the half court, we've actually defended pretty well. So that's going to be important. And then rebounding the basketball, I think, is going to really decide probably who wins this game, who comes up with the most offensive boards, some second chance points. But I'm expecting a really, really good basketball game.
Kind of bouncing off that Sweet 16 question, one of the players that played really well for Ole Miss, and that was Markeisha Davis. She's having another good year this year. What makes her so dangerous?
Well, she scores the ball. I mean, she's quick. She's got really good handles. She's not afraid to attack. She's got a really nice pull-up jump shot. Yeah, the kid can play. I mean, she's a really good ball player. It's somebody we're going to have to make sure we know where she is on the floor. She'll shoot the three, but it's not like that's her go-to. So we have to understand if she gets it on the perimeter, we want to make sure we close out. But with the idea of she's looking to drive it on you. And then she's got a really nice pull-up jump shot. I say it all the time. In women's basketball, if you can shoot a pull-up jump shot, you can be a pretty darn good basketball player because they're just the number of them that shoot a true pull-up jump shot. It's not that high. Angel McCautry, her pull-up jump shot was as good as anybody's I've ever coached. And Nina's is really good. So is Markeisha. She can shoot a pull-up jumper. So now you have to respect that, and then you've got to also respect the fact that she can get to the basket. So I'm expecting a very physical game. I'm really expecting it to be a low scoring game as well.
Jeff, this is a ways off, but what have you seen out of the ACC this year so far that you're going to face when league play starts?
A lot of good basketball teams. It's probably, and I say it each year because I think our league gets better and better each year. Top to bottom, it's really, really competitive. You've got NC State is playing great basketball right now. Some people had counted them out. I promise you, I was not one of them. Wes has always done a great job. They're playing really well. Virginia Tech, you've got Carolina, Florida State. I mean, I think there's 6 of us that are ranked in the top 25 right now. So it's going to be, and that's what I actually talk with our team about, especially a lot of our new ones. That this is a good week for us because it's a challenging week. We got Alabama, a Liberty, Gonzaga. You fly home. You get home at 11 p.m. Yesterday was a light practice. Practice today. Fly to Ole Miss and play a 9:15 game against a top 15 to top 20 team. So it's challenging. You've got to be mentally prepared for this, and that's exactly what our ACC schedule is going to look like.
Jeff, going back to Nina, you talked about before the kind of energy she brings off the bench, but what do you think she has brought over these 2 games as a starter?
Well, she's bringing that to us now. I think we just need to make a little change to get a little bit more aggressive at the start of games, and I think that's helped us. And I think Jada has benefited from being able to see the game because I thought the way she played against Gonzaga is how we need her to play. Every day at practice, in every game, she attacked. At her size, if she's passive, you're just existing. I can't have her exist. She has to look to make an impact, put pressure on people. She scores the ball well. But if you push it up the floor at a slow tempo, now you've lost any advantage you might have. So I think it's helping her to see the flow of the game at the start and then see how she can attack.
Jeff, when you look at the box scores of some of these games and see who's getting points and then watch the games to see how they're getting them, it kind of looks like you have a versatility in scoring that maybe you guys haven't had in a few years in terms of depth. Do you feel that way in terms of you have 3-point shooters, you have mid-range shooters, and you have a couple down low threats?
Well, I think what you've seen in the past is we've had some players that scored the ball at a higher level, but we've always had kids that can shoot. You go back to our 22 Final Four team. I mean, I think we had 4 or 5 kids in double figures. Even when you go back to the Elite Eight team the year before with Dana, when she was averaging close to 19 or 20, we had kids that could score the ball. Now I think what you're seeing is we don't necessarily have one every night who's going to come out and be a ball dominant player. Not in a bad way. I mean, Asia Durb's a ball dominant, Dana Evans, Haley. I mean, kids that score. Now I think we've got kids that are looking to get others involved more.
Yeah.
And as we do that, then it's going to be easier for people to score. And I thought that's what you saw. Our Gonzaga game was by far the best we've had all year at getting the ball out of our hands and getting our teammates open. But we did it by attacking, looking to score. And hopefully you'll see the same thing tomorrow night.
You mentioned early about when you recruit in the portal. You signed for the high school kids recently. What's the mix? Does the staff, do you just have to decide every year, kind of look at your roster? How do you because you've got more high school kids than you've had the last 3
Sure.
years, right? And you're not finished, I don't believe, or maybe not finished. How do you decide which way you're going to move forward?
Well, we always start looking at high school players. What's happened with the portal now, because you have your one-time transfer, as I've said, is if we're looking for a point guard, in the past, I might look at 5 kids, 5 high school. Here's 1 through 5 who I'm trying to get. Well, now because of the portal, I might just look at 3. I'm looking at the top 3 because I want someone who's going to come in and play. Because it's really becoming more difficult to sign anybody who wants to come in and be developed as a player. They want to come in and play as a freshman. Because what they can do is, instead of spending a year or 2 here and getting better every day at practice and competing against some of the best, they can go someplace else, maybe a little bit lower of level, start first team all league, and then transfer. So, and that's the mindset, I think, of a lot of players now. And I've got some friends that recruit that way, which I think is really smart too. Like if I was in a mid-major, I'd be like, hey, you come here, play for 2 years. I'm going to help you be first team all league, player of the year, and then I'll help you find a bigger school to go play at. I mean, it's what they're doing, so why not recruit that way? And I've got some friends that are, and they're being pretty successful at it. And then every once in a while, you might get a kid that just loves it where they are and decides to stay all 4 years. So for us, we look at the high school players first. We've signed 4 really good players that we are really excited about, and we're still looking at a few more high school kids that have decided to sign late. Depending on when those kids commit and where they commit will depend on what happens with us in the portal. And then you also look at your own team, because who are we going to lose? Who's going to decide that I want more playing time, I want this, I want that? So you're always looking at who might go into the portal. And when they do, you've got to make sure you're aggressive when it comes to recruiting. Because when all of a sudden the one really good wing player goes in the portal, if you're not calling day one, you're about 30 or 40 calls behind. So you've got to recruit every day because you aren't sure who's coming back. Now you think you have a feel of it, but I promise you can look people in the face. Hey, you plan to come? Oh yeah, I'm coming back. And that's on a Sunday. And then on Monday they're in the portal. So I've learned, don't be surprised. You've got to be prepared.
Jeff, kind of going off of that, how do you then, I guess, recruit kids to want to be developed?
I'm not sure you do. They all want to play. So if they come in and play, then you can continue to work with them because they're playing. Does that make sense? I mean, but it's harder and harder to find a kid and go, you know what, if you're willing to come in here and you work for 2 years, I'm telling you, I think you could be, boom. It's like, well, hey, how about if I go to this school, play for 2 years? If I'm that good, then I'll call you. I mean, that's kind of the way. And it's not just, I mean, it's been in other sports for years. I mean, it's men's basketball, women's basketball, and football now, I believe, are the three that the one-time transfers new. The rest of the sports have always had it. So it's a challenge. I mean, it really is a challenge, and that's why you don't see 15 kids on my roster. Because you can't, if you have 15 on a roster, somebody's got to be okay with doing their time to become better. Because you can't play all 15. And hopefully you find a few of them. It's hard though, that you're like, hey, be patient. In a year, I've got 2 kids right now that play your spot. They're seniors. You're going to come as a freshman, get a chance to learn from them, play some. But then when they graduate, bam, it's yours. It's hard. It's harder and harder to find.
Jeff, obviously your game tomorrow night's big. You have another game this week. Not the biggest game of the week though, because Saturday morning. Can you give me kind of a scouting report on? I think it's number 23 for Our Savior Lutheran.
Yeah, it's a big game. I believe it. Is that out at Anchorage on Saturday morning?
I believe so.
I believe, and the last game out there, I don't believe we were at full strength, and the officiating was just horrendous. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I thought I saw you in the parking lot slip a 50 to the one. Was that true? Was that accurate or not?
It was a different team you played.
Different team. What? But you're so anti Our Savior. You were just paying anybody off. No, you know what? It's been an absolute blast. My wife is coaching our daughter, and she's doing an outstanding job because she has a lot more patience than I do. We do have a little bit of advantage. We've got Jess Lemley is doing some individual workouts, so we have hired an expert in the field of player development in Jess, and now we're just trying to get Lola to be a little bit tougher, compete a little bit more. But it's coming along. I've been impressed. She dribbles with both hands, and when you're in 4th grade, that's a big thing to do. But it's been fun. So I plan to be there on Saturday morning.
What is Our Savior Lutheran's one-pass shooting percentage right now?
It's a little different at that age. Because if you can get one pass and you're open, shoot it. You know what? It's kind of what we always say, shoot it before you turn it over. But it's fun. It is really fun to watch them. They have gotten a lot better throughout the season. And just it's fun for me to go watch, and not just my daughter's team, but like whoever plays before and so forth, to see the joy that the kids have and how excited they get for each other when someone scores. And the score is a score. Sure, everybody's trying to win, but I watched a game, it was a 30-point game, and a kid scored, and you would have thought they just won the game. And that's what's fun. It's fun to just see joy. It's fun to see them out there. The parents have been great to listen to, because I obviously pay attention to parents. And when they're out there, just having fun, cheering for them, it's great. Now I'll give them about 5 more years, and then we'll see how things start to shake out. But right now, it's good for me. It's like going to a volleyball game when I go see my oldest play volleyball. Yeah. I don't have any idea about what's going on. I just know when they score. I don't know what kind of offense they're running. I don't know what kind of slide they're trying to do. So for me, I just go watch, cheer, and I'm supportive. Sometimes it's great to not know a thing about it. Anybody else? Guys, you guys are always great. I really appreciate y'all. We've got a big weekend for our volleyball program. Let's make sure if you're in town to get out there and watch them. Our football, I think, has a pretty big game here on Saturday. There's just a lot of exciting things going on right now in this athletic department, and it's fun to be a part of it. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Jeff.